Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. This week we're talking about profanity in video games, whether it bothers us and what examples stood out to us as being more distracting than entertaining. In news, we actually have some good news to say about a developer that rewarded its employees. We also played a bunch of new games, including the full release of Ruffy and the Riverside, FBC Firebreak from the Remedy universe, and Rematch, the soccer game from the developer of Seafood. Also, Mark stops by to talk to us about Zombie Cure Lab and the DLC for Still Wakes the Deep called Siren's Rest. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com / there's no / we also have a community at facebook.com /groups / the GoCast, and there's also a Discord server. You can find a link for that in the show notes of this very episode. It is Wednesday, June 25th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zach Parkerson.
Funk, yeah.
Funk, yes.
That's right.
I see what you did there. All right.
Jake on today's episode.
Jacob Gunderson.
Hi.
And Chris Behrensmeyer.
What's going on?
Not much, man. How have you been?
Exhausted.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Been a long week, huh?
It's been a long month.
Oh, really?
Work's insane right now.
Okay. Well, we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and talk about the games that we've been catching up on. Zach, let's start with you, sir. What have you been playing?
Oh, man. Well, I continue to trudge through UFO 50, one game at a time. Did I tell you guys I cherried some games?
You said you did like one or two of them.
Yeah, okay. I've cherried two. I'm moving on to, I'm playing Pilot Quest right now, which is kind of like you play as like this spaceman who crash lands on a planet, and you're building it up. So you're planting flowers that give you resources, and then you build buildings that give you units, and then they can help build this village up. But I wish I had played this first, because when you're playing other games in UFO 50, this game uses the timer function on the LX2 Spectrum or whatever the fake console is it makes you resources while you're playing other games. So you're supposed to be playing other games while you're playing this one.
What?
Yeah. And then you can check back in and kind of build up your building over time. And it's got these like dungeons you can explore, but they're all set to timers. So it's kind of a tough one, but it is fun. It's just tricky. You attack with a yo-yo. Yo-yos are in right now.
Apparently, what's that? Pipistrello?
Right. Yes. The world's first yo-yo-vania.
Yo-yo-vania.
Absolutely. And then the other one I'm playing right now is Bug Hunter, which is like a turn-based strategy game where you have to kill these bugs. You're hunting them, as it were.
It's a great name.
Yeah, spot on. And then you have they're basically like, you have moves you can do every turn. They're split into moves and attacks. Kind of think of it like cards. If you use one, it's gone. But you can collect this energy on the board, and then you can buy new cards that'll replace your old ones there. So you can kind of use them as just extra turns if you play it right.
Gotcha.
Which I learned far too deep into the game, because it's really the smart way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of strategy to that one. It's tough. It's only game 2 in the collection, so there's like no music, because it's like supposed to be a 1983 game. It's very, very old school and kind of a rough presentation, but it is. I found myself quite pleased with myself when I figured it out. When I started to figure it out.
Wouldn't it be fun to take this collection and go back and give it to our younger selves that grew up on the Nintendo and see what we thought of it? If these were like, because some of these have to be better than what we had as kids, right?
Sure. Yeah, I would imagine so.
I mean, maybe not like Mario 3 and things like that, but
Well, what I like is like a game like Pilot Quest, where it's collecting these resources as you're playing other games, and you're kind of building up a village, and then you have to like go into the dangerous area and collect resources. It's something has kind of like modern survival game elements to it in that way, mm-hmm. And that's obviously something that didn't exist in 1988 or whenever that game supposedly came out. So your mind would be blown at these new genres, probably.
Right. Well, this is like your third week in a row playing this game. You were clearly loving this collection,
dude. Yeah, it's silly that you're not playing it, Scott.
I know. Well,
the games are only, like I tell you, like Barbuda, I beat it in like 45 minutes or whatever. Like they're pretty, mm-hmm. They're NES length. And some of them are longer than others, for sure. But yeah, dude, it's a compelling collection.
I will pick it up. I promise. Is there a summer Steam sale coming sometime in the near future, or are we already past that?
I mean, UFO 50 is already 50 cents a game, man. How much of a better deal do you need than that?
That's true. I am trying to
It's
pinch
just-
pennies right now, but I say that and I just
Why?
kickstarted something this morning.
He's just feeling extra cheap today.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, 50
No,
cents. is
I
too much to
kickstarted
get it.
speaking of NES, I kickstarted. I don't know if you guys have seen it advertised, but it's like an NES compendium, 300-page full color thing, and I bought the Uber version of it that comes with a Nintendo slip sleeve on it. I think it looks really rad. So it was like $91 for all of the add-ons. I got the very top tier one. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I read
a
that.
hypocrite, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, that book looks good next to your complete NES library.
That's what I'm saying. That was what I told myself. That's
Right. Yeah. One of two dudes in this room with a complete NES library.
actually CB has one as well.
So I said one of two.
Oh,
Just-
one of two. I misunderstood what you were saying. Yeah, half of us,
Right.
complete NES library.
That's pretty weird.
Half of us are complete nerds.
Yeah,
Well, the other two are full nerds.
Yeah. What are you talking
Not
about,
complete,
dude?
just full.
we get
Well,
like
well-
stickers to the back of our cars that people that run a half marathon have. Like, I'm only half crazy, so
I don't know, man. We're all on a podcast called The Gaming Outsider. I
that's
think we're
true.
all-
That's true.
we all went
I
full
have,
nerd.
I have a complete 80s collection of video games. Let's go.
The whole 80s. Congrats. Sounds expensive. And then I've continued to play Like I Aged True Blood. The story is getting better and more personal, very emotional. It's very, very good stuff. I will say the if you're really into gear gated games for the gear, that's pretty few and far between. The actual gear gating is there's like not that good progression you get from other ones.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of a more focused on the difficulty of the bike ramps and stuff. And the abilities you get are cool. It's just you only get like 3 of them.
Mm.
So it's pretty light in that way, but the story you're getting out of it is well worth any genre shortfalls it might have. So still highly recommending that one.
I gotta stop doing this podcast because I keep finding games I want to play.
Dude, it's the world's first Motorvania. You could play the world's first Yo-Yo-Vania and Motorvania back to back if you wanted to.
Right. So not only is it the year of new Vanias, but it's also the year of pirates and cowboy games.
Well, I think Leica came out like 2 years ago, but yeah.
Did it
Pirate
really?
pirate games are I think 2023, yeah.
There's no way that was 23. Seriously?
Dude, 2023, man, time flies.
Holy cow. Time is going by fast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, CB, it's been a minute, man. What have you been playing since you've been gone? Since you've been gone.
Well, I mean, other than like, just I haven't been at gaming as much lately. I've been doing a lot of painting. Surprisingly, calms my
Yeah.
nerves. But
But by surprising, do you mean your Warhammer figures? Because that doesn't seem too surprising.
That's not surprising at all.
yeah, there's a lot. It's bad. But no, I've been playing Doom: The Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm.
That game is really good. I'm kind of surprised because I'm playing it on something different.
Oh,
I bought an Asus ROG Ally.
really?
Yeah.
Before
now-
the Xbox version?
I was going to say, yeah.
So Best Buy has a 60-day return policy. So if I choose to swap it for something newer, but I got specifically the ROG Ally X, which is basically going to have almost the same internals.
Mm.
It was surprisingly not as cheap as I thought it was.
That didn't stop you, though, did it?
Well, so initially I went to Sam's and I was walking by and I'm like, oh, look, an Asus ROG. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a newer version of this. And I looked it up and it's like Best Buy had it in stock, but they didn't list the price. It was almost double what Sam's had it for.
So did you go back to Sam's?
No, because Sam's, it was just the standard ROG.
Oh, I see.
Not,
okay.
not the Ally X, which is
He
the
didn't
Ally
say it.
X is like the top tier. So, dude, those things look so good.
Like the
and
screen or just like the
screen
actual?
looks stellar. It plays really well. I'm surprised for a game as new and frenetic as Doom: The Dark Ages. It handles it just fine.
Hmm.
I did look at like the Lenovo handheld, and that thing is way too big.
I've
Like,
heard that about that one.
dude, it is like I picked it up. I'm like, I've got big bare hands.
It's like a laptop screen.
Dude, it's dumb. Like it's like they took an iPad and just like slapped a controller on the side of it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is just unwieldy.
Hmm.
So I played that.
Now, how
I had to-
difficult was it to hook up your stuff to it? Because I assume you're playing that off of Game
It
Pass.
is so stupidly easy.
Right. Okay.
I literally entered my Microsoft password and it just synced everything.
Wow.
So, yeah, like it put my Steam account, it put my Xbox account, my PlayStation account, and then like all my email, my PC settings, everything.
So what's the advantage to waiting for the Xbox One? Is it just a branding thing, or is
It's
that
a branding thing.
So I could get this now and it'd be just as good as
Yep.
the one that's got the different logo on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't say
That's
Xbox on it, dude.
Yeah, it'll say Xbox and they'll say it's optimized. So
See,
I
Paul Hine has
don't-
been trying to sell me on this for months, and I've been like, it's not, it's not like made for Xbox. It's made for all this other stuff. And now he's gonna be really mad at me that like you've sold me on it after talking to me about it for 5 minutes.
well, yes, Paul Hine, I have joined the handheld master race. Well, originally I was going to buy a Steam Deck because I played yours. I liked the way it felt. I bought this, and I'm glad with my decision because I'm not basically locked into one thing. So, and then also I played Moonlighter on it.
Had you played it before?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you
What
and I
is-
were like competing, and I was like, let's just go back to because you can download everything. Like you have to play it in like offline mode,
Mhm.
or you can play the cloud Xbox version. So
Mhm.
I was just like, I'm just going to download stuff. It's great.
Well,
So,
good.
yeah.
I mean, it seems like a really good, fun game to do short sessions on a handheld system.
Yes. So I've been loading it up with like different things that I want to play. So
Might I recommend UFO 50? You get 50 games. They're only 50 cents each when you do the math.
sure, yeah, I'll download that too.
It's good, dude.
So
All right, very cool, man. What about you, Jacob? Anything you've been catching up on?
I've been playing Hitman World of Assassination.
Oh, this is the
Switch 2.
collection that came to Switch 2, correct?
Yes.
All right. I've never
it's
played a
got
Hitman game.
Oh,
Any?
No.
you're missing out.
Whoa, dude. The series has
Yeah.
been around for so long. It's weird you just didn't even accidentally play one.
Right.
Yeah, I saw the movie, and I didn't know if
No.
it was good or
Which
not.
one? Which one?
No.
The one with Timothy Oliphant, I think.
Oh, okay, that's a decently fun movie.
No. Anyway, so the collection has got Hitman, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3 on it. Actually, it was originally released as Hitman 3. So when you're like loading in the game, it says like Hitman 3 and all that kind of stuff. And then they upgraded it to World of Assassination to include the 2 other games as well. But
Okay.
it has a bunch of bonus content. But what was it? We got a code to try it out for the Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been practicing. I've been trying it out there, but from what I've seen, it runs decent. It's running between 30 and 60 frames. Like on the handheld version of the Switch 2, it runs really, really well. And then on my big dumb TV, I have it going to 40K, and it runs like a solid 40 frames. So it doesn't look. It looks really, really good, but then it's choppy at times. But
Oh.
the game still looks and plays amazing. So
No issues, no hiccups or anything?
it's crashed. I think I've been playing for about 20 hours now, and it's crashed twice, just randomly. Yeah, and it crashed really, really early on. Probably within the first 1 or 2 hours, and then it hasn't crashed since. But there is like a game breaking glitch that happens while you're playing the game. Sometimes, for some reason, somebody on the other side of the map will like fall unconscious randomly, and then you will be invisible and unable to be detected and can walk through walls. Like, it's weird.
That sounds like a feature.
It should be a feature. You can run around and check everything.
Did you enter God mode or something?
Yeah, basically. They can't even see you. It's funny too, because when you walk up and you assassinate somebody in front of people, they don't react to you, they react to the body. And they're just like, oh, someone's dead. Like, I just murdered this man, like right here. Like, what are you talking about?
Were you able to recreate that?
No, I have failed every time. I thought it had something to do with turning off the switch and logging back in, because every time you do that, it has to reconnect to the Hitman servers. And so, I mean, even if you accidentally, for some reason, go to the home screen, it has to reconnect. And so every time it feels like the game jumps a little bit. Okay. And so I don't know if it has anything to do with that or not, but every attempt that I've had at recreating it when I actually happened has failed. So
as someone that's never played these games before, is this the best place to start, or is this this isn't the original? This is the most recent.
Yeah, these are this is the newest trilogy. Yeah.
Because I've heard that these are just like a sandbox of different ways to take out targets in fun and in inventive ways.
Briefcases.
Yeah. Was that? I think that was the first Hitman.
Yeah.
Is that you would get? Yeah. You would throw your briefcase, and the briefcase, for whatever the throwing animation or whatever algorithm they use to make the throwing, the thing would just float through the air until it got to the target. And if you threw it at people running, it would just chase them continuously until they finally stop moving and hit them. It's hilarious, because there's one video of somebody on a jet ski that someone throws the briefcase at, and like as they're like floating on the water with the jet ski, you can see the briefcase just hovering, chasing after them.
I'm hearing Benny Hill music in my head while you're describing it.
Some Looney Tunes energy going on in this game.
It is. It absolutely is. It's funny, but I think they removed that in the later games.
Okay.
Because
it'd be a fun little Easter egg or something.
It was. Well, speaking of fun little Easter egg, my kid came out and was like, "Oh, you've done this yet?" And I was like, "No." Like, it's one of my favorite levels. So there's a level in Hitman 2 called the Finish Line. And you have to take out two people, and it's a raceway and whatever. But there is a helicopter pad on the very top of the building, and the mascot for them is a flamingo. Well, if you for some reason circumvent all the security and wear the flamingo costume and get to the helipad, Hitman Agent 47 will fly away, like by himself. He'll just flap his arms and fly away.
Get out!
Yeah, no, it's true. That's why I had to go do it. So yeah. It was awesome. It's funny. They have, as serious as this game is, there are so many little things in there that keep it fun and interesting.
Okay. Again, that is Hitman: World of Assassination. I believe it's got an edition name at the end of it, if I'm not mistaken.
The Switch 2 is a signature edition.
Signature edition. Yes. Very cool.
Did you kill Lashif?
I did. That's actually a really fun mission too, because you get to gamble many times. You play roulette and you play poker, and yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can approach it, and killing him is very satisfying, because it's an elusive target, so he's not actually marked for you. So instead of like knowing where he is at all times, you gotta go find him first, and then you have to follow him around and figure out what he's actually doing. Because before in the normal games, you can kind of see them. They're marked as red through the walls and stuff with instinct vision. And so you can kind of like plan out your path to get to them. And with that one, you can't. So it makes it a little bit harder, makes it a little bit more interesting.
Very cool, man. It sounds like a game I would enjoy. I just inundated with quality games I want to play. So
it takes time. The one mission that I did, I screwed it up, and I had to wait for certain circumstances to happen, and I was in that one mission for an hour and a half.
Like, you just like sit hiding in a box waiting for like the perfect alignment of security guards or something like that, or what?
Yeah, basically.
Ugh, that sounds miserable to me.
It was a little bad, but it was only because I screwed up.
Okay. Well, thanks for checking that out, man. Let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. First off, we got some news you can read over on thegamingoutsiders.com right now. We've got an update for the game Deck of Haunts, which Mark reviewed for us ways back. There's a game called Terminal Brigade on Steam and Epic Games Store on 7/30. A game called Mexican Ninja on Steam with a date to be determined, and a game that looks awesome called Blood Message on PC and consoles, again with a date to be determined. We got new trailers for Power Wash Simulator 2. It is a gameplay trailer this time around, coming to Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PC later this year. Sega spills the beans on some sales numbers. The Lies of P developers got their work was actually rewarded.
Scott didn't like my wording on the
Apparently, yeah.
The Lies of P developers actually work for actually good people. Just saying.
There you go. I see what you said. Okay. The developers work for actually good people. Took me a second. Also, the developers of Splitgate 2 are regretting their decision to showcase their game at the Summer Games Fest the way that they did. And I did not put this on here, but on the way up here, I uncovered some news that Microsoft and Sony are actually already talking about the next console generation. It's crazy. CB, you've been gone a while. What story would you like to talk about, sir?
Well, I first off would love to say thank God for Power Wash Simulator 2.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be there so hard. Now when you say uncovered news, are you referring to the YouTube video that you sent us?
Yes. That, and then something was an offhand comment was made by a Sony representative too. But go ahead.
Yeah,
You guys get YouTube videos?
yeah. So Xbox decided to come out and announce a partnership with AMD.
Mhm.
AMD is currently, I don't know if they made this current generation's chipset. I think they did.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of the dudes, right?
Yeah,
And they have been for
they're dude bros.
they're tight, yo.
Yeah. Which it isn't surprising that they made this formal announcement, because they're also the Xbox branded Asus ROG that's coming later this year is also using an AMD chipset, as well as Asus is also currently using the AMD chipset. So it's not surprising there. However, in the video, they mention moving forward with the next generation. They're already currently working with AMD on their new chipset. But what surprised me was an offhand comment made in the video,
Which was?
that Microsoft wants to make Windows the best gaming platform,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically confirming the fact that the Xbox is just going to become like an app store, or an app platform similar to Steam or Epic. So I have a feeling one of the consoles is going to slowly walk its way out of the console wars.
Oh, I see. Join
I
the.
feel like this would indicate that the console wars they're waving the white flag, right?
Bow down,
That-
down.
that
kind of
feels
feels
like
like
the
it.
power of
Well,
PlayStation.
They're waving the white flag as the Xbox, but then going to utterly kick in the teeth of PlayStation. It's like, guess what? Now we're just going to we're PC, and we know it, and our sales numbers are always going to crush you.
I have always argued that Xbox and Microsoft, because they are the same thing, that it's basically just PC. There's no reason why PC and Microsoft ever argue about anything.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, since what the Xbox, actually no, since the 360, it's been a PC. It uses Windows as its operating system.
I don't know if that's true.
It is. They started with Windows 7 dumbed down kernel as its operating system, and then they moved to 10 with the Xbox One, and now it basically functions on 11. That's
Okay.
why.
Gross.
So I mean, it's essentially a Windows kernel. Yeah, they're going the software route, which it already feels like that this generation. They're like, well, we're just going to put all of our games on other consoles. So I feel for the most part they are officially bowing out of the hardware side of things, other than like, look, we're still going to crank out PCs, but now we're going to just make PCs and focus on game development.
They're just changing their opponent.
They really are.
They're not going to fight PlayStation anymore. They're going to fight Steam.
They're not changing teams or changing leagues.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Like-
when you think about it that way, they're going from the minors to the majors.
Well, I mean, it's been their whole messaging is that, Xbox is everything's an Xbox, right?
yes.
You're an
That's-
Xbox.
I'm an Xbox. You're an Xbox. You get an Xbox. But it sure sounds like it's going to be some kind of amalgamation of console, PC, and handheld device. Like, imagine if you had a Switch-like piece of hardware or a TV that had the guts already in there that you also use as your PC. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten used to smart televisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of see this as them going, that's the route that they're going to do. Like your TV in your living room is going to be your way to watch television, which is what they tried to do with the Xbox One, correct? The original
Yes.
Xbox One. Remember when they came out with that and it was all about like watching TV and
You're
movies on it? That was like their big marketing thing.
Your all-in-one entertainment system.
Correct.
Oh,
So
the lesser Xbox One. Okay, understood.
Yeah, the
Right,
OG
not-
that came with
No.
a Kinect.
Yes. No. Well, you say original Xbox or Xbox. It's
So,
You're talking
Xbox
about
is
the-
going to be the next
you're talking,
Stadia.
about, you're talking about the third generation of Xbox hardware.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
So yeah, like it's definitely feel that they're moving more towards the let somebody else make the hardware. We're just going to make software that's compatible with everything.
I mean, they're already
Um,
doing it with the ROG Ally X Xbox, right?
Yes.
And Paul Hine in the chat actually had a comment. He said Quest 3S Xbox branded ROG Xbox Ally X. They're already doing it.
So yeah, there is a Quest 3S that's actually coming branded and optimized to link up with Xbox.
So I'm going to be able to play my games in a headset, even though they're not VR games.
You can already do that. The
I-
Quest
yeah.
3 already allows you to do that.
Okay. It's just so they're just slapping the Xbox name on it
Yeah.
so that
it's
that Xbox
brand-
fans feel comfortable.
well branded and optimized. So it's probably going to come preloaded with their like user interface app.
So it's all going to be run by this AMD chip, which I know nothing about PC gaming, but like imagine like your TV is your entertainment device in terms of movies and television. It's your video games. It is your computer. You're doing your online shopping and things on that. And then it has like a device that you pull away and take away to play games portably, like the ROG Xbox Ally X.
And that's
Like-
why I need 3 of them.
That's the thing that frustrates me with this whole thing is I'm not ready for another generation, guys. I'm like I don't need another generation of consoles.
But,
Well, I mean,
but
this,
see, that's
this
the
one
thing
has
is
barely started.
Yeah.
Xbox is removing themselves from the console generation part of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we're done making the hardware. Like we've basically perfected our like app, so to say. And from now on, like you could just download the app and you can play our games anywhere, anytime, on anything.
Right.
So that's basically
Does that mean
making-
PlayStation?
So it's funny because I already have
No.
a Sony device that plays Xbox games. It's called my TV.
I mean,
Because I have a Sony TV with an Xbox app on it, so technically Sony's already playing my Xbox games for me.
that's fair.
So, but
Uh-huh.
but it definitely makes like the generations of consoles like more fluid,
Mhm.
because now instead of just like, oh well, I need to sit here and buy this new console every few years, we're like your phone already like we're already replacing that every like 3-4 years. So that's going to have updated internals. You can just cast it to your TV. For the most part, you don't really update your TV that often because for the TV internals kind of stay the same. It's all going server side.
Right.
So they're front loading the like, hey, we'll fix like we'll remove ourselves from the console market. We'll keep updating our servers. You guys just play our games.
So yeah, I think what threw me off with this because it was I forgot the woman's name that is the spokesperson.
Sarah Bond.
Bond.
She's
I was
not a
going to say
spokesperson. She's the new Phil Spencer. Like,
right. Here's the thing: is my sister-in-law went to college with a girl named Sarah Bland, And so like I always try to say Sarah Bland instead of Sarah Bonds. That's why I have trouble remembering it. But anyway, it threw me off the first
excuses.
He just hates women, I think, is really that's what I was trying to get at.
It threw me off when she said the next generation of Xbox hardware, because my mind immediately goes to consoles. And like I said, I'm not ready for their console generation. But from what you're sounding like, CB, is that this is more of a unofficial announcement that we're out of the hardware game. We're just going to focus on software and making good games that you can play on anything by devices made by other companies, and we're just going to make money off of software.
But a weird,
Yes.
weird way to announce it though, right? Because like, well, we're backing away from hardware, but also we're going to make hardware.
Well, no, they're not making the hardware.
Right.
They're basically pimping out the hardware division. They're like, hey, we'll pay for the development of this chipset.
Is
But
pimping
you
the right word? Outsourcing, maybe?
I prefer pimping because when you have that kind of money, it feels like you're pimping. But they're like, we're gonna pay for the development of this hardware set. You can throw it in your stuff. Just make sure to put Xbox branding on whatever you make using this chipset.
So kind of like what remember like the Steam machine idea they had a few years ago that went nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Anyway.
The Ouya.
Oh, my
I
God.
do remember.
This was a very short video, and I feel like it was... When I saw it, I was like, wow, this seems like a bigger deal than just like a random YouTube video that I didn't come across myself until I heard another podcast talking about it. So I thought it was worth bringing up. But
It really is, because it's definitely setting the tone and pace for console and gaming going forward, especially in Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo's like playground.
Gotcha. Well, let's move on. Zach, any of these stories interest you want to talk about?
Well, yes, but also Blood Message looks awesome.
That was going to be the one I was going to bring up. Holy cow, that game. If you guys have not seen the trailer for Blood Message, go look it up. Why
it's
this
like a-
game was not announced at Summer Games Fest is beyond me.
Dude, it didn't need it, man.
Apparently.
It's gonna generate its own hype. It's
Yeah.
like like Chinese historical action game, but looks highly cinematic, and they already said it's linear.
I think there's a lot of places that are like moving away from the Summer Games Fest because rather than get lost in the sauce, you can just go back to like, hey, this is us.
I get that, but at the same time, there were a lot of, I don't know. This looks like a AAA or maybe AA budget game that I just don't expect to just get its own announcement. Kudos to them, and like Zach said, linear game that it just looks so good. Like we don't get games like this anymore, where you get a high budget game for a game that's not a massively open world game or a multiplayer kind of situation. I just feel like we're eating so good right now.
It looks like the
Single-player
kind of
fans.
game you used to expect from PlayStation first party.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you brought this up when we were talking about it earlier today, Zach, that there's nothing supernatural. There's no goofy. There's not aliens.
Yeah,
This is just
it's like just a history story.
right.
Yeah.
Like, can we get more of that, please? Like, it's okay to just have like a straight up realistic story without something supernatural or aliens or I don't know.
Yeah, as this
Nonsense.
trailer is evidence of, that stuff could be awesome on its own.
Mhm.
No doubt.
Very cool. Did you have another story you were actually?
Yeah, I
wanting to
guess.
talk about?
Also, Mexican Ninja looks fun.
Right.
Just gonna say, dude, I'm not the world's biggest beat 'em up guy, but a roguelike spin on it sounds fun, and also just the idea of a Mexican Ninja is delightful.
Mhm.
But the actual story I'm most interested about this week is that the Lies of P developers, working for actually decent folk, the team over at Round 8 Studio was rewarded by their publisher NeoWiz for Lies of P having hit the 3 million units sold threshold. This comes right on the back of the Overture DLC that's coming out and reviewing very well. But every developer is being given 10 million won, which is about 7,300 USD, an extra 2 weeks of paid vacation, and a Nintendo Switch 2.
That's where they all went.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, you don't hear stories about that anymore. All we hear about is layoffs.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say Xbox. Just they're getting up for layoffs. The Mind's Eye Studio is laying people off. Yeah, it's usually layoffs.
The 2 weeks is just a temporary layoff. They're like, here's vacation. It's a layoff.
Yeah, you don't always get paid for those.
I'm actually more impressed over the fact that like they're like, hey, we sold 3 million units. Everybody gets a bonus in this. Whereas a lot of bigger studios would be like, we sold 3 million units. You're all fired.
Right. Yeah. Square Enix would say this is an
The
apocalyptic
worst game of all time.
disappointment.
Yeah. So
congratulations to them.
Yeah.
I just love hearing things like this. CB, you told a similar story to a local business that did something like this, and you just never hear about things like this. Didn't that business owner buy all of his employees a brand new car?
Well, yeah. I'll even say his name because Kyle's an awesome dude.
Mhm.
So he takes care of his employees, and there's a reason why nobody leaves his company.
Mm-hmm.
They all work there. Like every single person that's working there today is every single person that I knew that was working there years ago. I know people that have left their jobs to go work for him.
Mm-hmm.
So when companies treat their employees right, it's amazing how much you can accomplish.
Yeah, dude. Happy people do hard work.
Imagine that.
Not a difficult equation.
Yeah.
No.
Well, thanks for bringing that one up, Zach, because I thought that was a really cool story. I don't think I would have even known about it if you hadn't told me about it. So that's really cool. Jake, any story you want to mention real quick?
The developers of Splitgate are regretting their decision of how they showcase their game.
I cringed at this thing at the Summer Games Fest, probably not for the reason you're thinking, but
Oh, why? Because I remember he came out and made a huge display of basically power. Didn't he come out with not an actual gun, but didn't he come out with something? He came out with props, right?
he came out with a hat that said "Make FPS Great Again."
And of course, I was driving at the same time, so
that's true. But he did that, but that wasn't the thing that made me kind of gasp. It was more like he really ripped into Call of Duty. One of the most popular franchises on the planet.
I don't care.
Well, no, I get it. I'm not like defending Call of Duty, but I don't play Call of Duty. You know what I mean? But a lot of people do. And you're on one of the largest stages, and you're gonna talk crap about your competitor, your future competitor, for whenever they came out since then, right?
It's just not a good look, right, to try to tear down your competition to build yourself up,
Right.
especially when you're doing things that are just as scummy, like selling a microtransaction bundle for $145. Like you're not making anything great again. You're part of the problem.
I mean, at least I don't have like Nicki Minaj or other random stupid things running around the battlefield.
Countdown's on, man. Every game gets that stuff.
I don't know, man.
Well,
Call of Duty's got Beavis and Butthead now. Did you see that?
I don't know.
I do not think I legitimately couldn't play Call of Duty straight up.
No, I gave up years ago.
Yeah.
Not because I was bad at Call of Duty, but because
I'm
it just
terrible.
became too stupid.
It's sad that Call of Duty, like the game that like set the bar for like wartime like FPS stuff, is slowly morphing into Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean, it's working for Fortnite, so I don't necessarily.
It is because Fortnite is free.
It certainly seems to work for Call of Duty as well, though.
Me and my child have had many conversations about how Fortnite has ruined gaming.
It really has
on multiple levels.
I don't know. The games I play are fine.
Yeah, I just
play tons of.
Well,
Play more
anyway,
Yo-Yo Vanias, dude. That'll cheer you up.
Yeah. So apparently, this game is not doing well. Splitgate 2.
No.
Like Zach mentioned, they've been criticized for the microtransactions, and the numbers have been dismal. But all they have to go on is Steam, so it doesn't include console numbers. But 1047 Games, the developer announced that they laid off some staff, but didn't say how many that was. And they also announced that the two co-founders would not be taking salaries while they tried to improve the game. So I don't know where I land with how I feel about this developer, but kudos for not paying yourself.
Yeah,
I guess.
Let's go.
The two co-founders, yes, they're not taking salary, but the rest of the board probably is.
I don't know how
but
big this.
That's still better than most companies.
Good for the co-founders. I will say that.
Yeah, praise where it's due, man.
And
if you don't praise progress, no one will ever progress.
Right.
right.
If you want to make FPSs great again, make more Spec Ops, the line
I don't
style
understand.
games.
We're gonna make FPS great again by making Halo, but with portals. I don't get it.
Trying to bring back the fun of SPS shooters.
Uh-huh.
I don't think anybody's complaining about the quality of people that are fans of these games are eating them up. It's
Yeah,
I don't know.
Make more Unreal Tournament.
And I don't remember. I don't think he directly said Call of Duty, but I mean, there's not another name out there for FPS shooters right now, really, other than Call of Duty. But do you remember when they were displayed? Oh,
what do you mean?
We got one more final thing. Oh, it's Black Ops 7, and everyone was just kind of like, "Oh, it's Black Ops 7." Okay.
Yeah, because that's just not a one more thing announcement.
No.
Well, especially when the trailer started off like this is some new franchise, and this looks interesting. What is this? And it's Call of Duty. Which, hey, I'll play the campaign. Don't get me wrong, but
right, it's got that guy your wife likes.
Yeah, Milo Ventimiglia, is that how you say it?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, my wife's got the hots for him.
Call of Duty could fall off the face of the planet tomorrow, and I don't think anyone's going to be.
I disagree, man.
Except
there are a lot of people
that 30 million people that play it every year.
What are you talking about? Nobody's going to notice. Some people, that's their only game. A lot of people, that's all they play is Call of Duty. Joel Selinsky, one of our listeners, that's like day one, he's there. He's probably still playing it right now. All right, we got
a good Call of Duty.
One other quick story I want to mention. Sega spills the beans on some sales numbers. A sales chart was accidentally included in a presentation slide on Sega's investor relations site. Naturally, the internet archived it immediately, so Sega removing it fixed very little. Some interesting data from that list. Persona 5 sold 7.25 million. Sonic Frontiers, 4.57 million. Team Sonic Racing, 3.5 million. Total War, Three Kingdoms, 3.21 million. Yakuza Like a Dragon, 2.86 million, and Persona 3 Reload, 2.07 million. Pretty interesting numbers. That's a lot of revenue for one company. Persona 5 was so popular.
I was gonna say I knew Persona was popular, but I guess I had no idea it was this popular.
I want to see the numbers of like how many people finished it, because isn't that like 100+ hour game just to roll credits?
Like mainline, yeah.
Which every single person that bought it in Japan.
Well, and everybody over here just like played for a little bit and then they're good.
Oh no, we have a healthy contingent of weebs here stateside. Sonic Frontiers selling almost $5 million copies. That game ruled.
Yes,
I would be happy with these sales numbers. Like
are they not?
Numbers.
No, I think Sega is stoked. Right?
Again, it falls into that, like, if a Square Enix put up any one of these, they'd be like, these are dismal.
Yeah, it really does paint a picture of like what is Square Enix doing that Final Fantasy 16 selling several million is not good then. Like, did they just not know how to make, because like Sega's having a ball over here.
Yeah, like they're definitely like revitalizing themselves as just this, and I think they're doing phenomenal.
What else is Square Enix spending money on? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Higher ups buying random pieces of land. I don't know.
Pieces of land?
It seems like something
huge that tracts of land.
He's wearing a tinfoil hat over there.
I'm curious if the Yakuza Like a Dragon number includes Game Pass numbers.
It would not. It would not sell. It would not count for copies sold.
Unless there's a deal with Microsoft where like every time somebody downloads it, like they get like a certain percentage of it.
No, because that's why they say players. This is. I mean, it comes from a sales data chart. They would not count it. That would be, you would be defrauding your investors.
Mm-hmm. So, because
they're not giving them $60 per Game Pass play.
But that's also slightly impressive over the fact that this game is on Game Pass and it still sold that.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Yakuza's, yeah, that one especially, I guess. I guess
So-
that was a soft reboot of the series when turn-based. So I guess people like turn-based crime games.
That is another series I've never gotten into, but I feel like every podcast I listen to is talking about Yakuza.
Mm-hmm.
And like the first time I heard Yakuza was like back when I was listening to Garnet Lee on podcasts, and he was like, I thought it was like he just liked Japanese games. You know what I mean? And this is just like this random game that's popular in Japan and not here, and also it's blown up here. It's crazy.
Also good on Sega because every single one of those games has great sales numbers and not a single one is an FPS.
That's a really good point.
Which they would make great again, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Persona
Better
3
than Call of
remake.
Duty.
I mean, I guess I see why they fast-tracked the Persona 4 remake, huh? If this remake sells 2 million copies, that's crazy.
Right. Just throw something up, guys. Anything. The 5-second trailer. It's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that it doesn't have any of the vibe of the original.
Right.
Put it on the screen.
All right. Very quick. Can we get an update, Jacob? R2V2 is coming Saturday, October 11th here in Rockville, Illinois. Anything new to share?
Where's there it is? No, not really. What do you want from me? No, we don't have anything new to share really. The music acts we have this year are the Adventure Guild and Arc Impulse. What both of those have Bobby Shields in it, right?
Correct. He's the
He's our
drummer for
good
both
friend.
of those.
Yep, he's our good friend. Jaren is still coming, correct?
Jer Roke. Yes.
Jaroke. Oh, my bad.
His first name is Jer. His last name is Roke.
Oh,
You got to be
I thought it was-
Jaroking me.
I thought it was one name.
He is a pianist and he
Jer.
plays incredible
Yes.
covers on the piano.
I was gonna say he doesn't have a name, right? He just goes by Jer. He doesn't have an act name. Like
Correct.
Arc Impulse,
It's
He
just his
goes by
name.
Jer.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's single performer.
My
But
bad. I have been
please-
ruining things.
please mark your calendars. Saturday, October 11th. We hope everybody comes out. There's going to be vendors selling games. We're going to get developers on the floor, arcade cabinets. Alan Sheck is coming back to bring Catastrophic Inversion. It is an incredible VR game that takes up an entire room. You have to play it. He's got some updates for it. He's going to bring it for everybody to check out. It's going to be so much fun. Please check it out, thegamingoutsider.com for more details. And also, we've got our Patreon page. If you would like to support the show, if you like what you hear, head over to patreon.com/thegocast and sign up at a $3 tier. We'll give you all of our episodes ad-free, and it will also give you access to any bonus content that we do on the show. We hope that you check it out. Again, patreon.com/thegocast. You can hear Jacob and I's episode on Blueprints. We did a spoiler cast. And then we also, all of the episodes of Last of Us, I did a spoiler cast with my buddies over at the Hollywood Outsider. And I hope you check it out. Again, patreon.com/thegocast. Now it's time for us to talk about the new games that we've been playing. Zach, got a bit of a short list this week. What's new on the horizon?
Yeah, on June 27th, you can hang out with your virtual pet in Tamagotchi Plaza, coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch. You can lead an underground revolution in Antro, a gear-gated 2D game coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. July 1st, the IRAM Collection Volume 3 brings some retro action to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. July 2nd, Dead of Darkness is a adventure horror game coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Switch. And then July 3rd brings two 3DS Harvest Moon games, The Lost Valley and Skytree Village, to Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it's a pretty soft week out there. What about you, Jacob? Does any game on here intrigue you?
I'm a Harvest Moon fan, but Dead of Darkness looks awesome.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what about it, but it almost feels like Shutter Island. Like
Yeah.
like they're in an insane asylum and there's something big that's happening. And I don't know. I kind of want to know more about it.
Here, what about you, Scott?
Intro, for obvious reasons.
Sure, right up your
Yeah.
wheelhouse.
Mhm.
What about you, CB?
Harvest Moon. I mean,
Oh, okay. Get a couple of farming guys. I think I'm with Scott here. I think I would go Antro from the list here.
Yeah.
From us.
Yeah, but games are coming out slowly. But bigger, smaller games. Jacob, you played a Ruffy in the Riverside. Sky, you've been playing this as well, right?
Yes, we both have actually. If you remember, I played the demo for this a few months ago, and the game is officially out, so you can actually play the full thing right now.
Very cool. So this is the one with a unique art style, right? Where you're playing like a 2D dude in a 3D world.
Yeah,
Or maybe
imagine.
Dudet, I don't know.
It's a bear, and it's
Yeah.
referred to as a he. Don't
Okay.
don't want to assume, but he refers to himself as a he.
Right.
But imagine like Paper Mario, but with hand drawn characters and backdrops and everything, and they almost have that, like, you know how in Paper Mario you got that like white border around the characters and items, just to kind of give it that
They look like they're
cutesy
cut
look.
out.
Yeah, it looked like they
Right.
were cut out. That's a good way to say it. And but it's 3D, like think like a Mario 64, but just a little bit more things to do in the world. Jake, you actually were at my house playing it, and I'm curious your thoughts of it, because we had some similar issues with the audio, but
Oh my goodness! Just shut up. I don't need a quip or little giggles or something like every 5 seconds that I'm playing.
Oh, is he
My
constantly talking, Ruffy?
He giggles. He makes
like
little noises.
yeah.
Oh,
Like, you know how like when you're playing Ocarina of Time, Link always will go ah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's things like that, but much more annoying.
I'm not sure I
Yeah.
could do it. Nope.
Yeah,
Yes, I already would have
Stop.
to turn it off. I'd be requesting a refund from Steam right now.
But if you play the game on mute, it's fun. The puzzles in there are a little they're different. You I mean, you have the special power that you can change elements around to, and I guess not elements, but like you can change grass into sand, like sand into grass, water into lava, that kind of stuff. And so when you're doing the puzzles, you actually like copy one of the puzzle pieces and change another puzzle piece into that piece, or vice versa, whatever. And that's how you solve the puzzles in there. And they give you these little hints, and that's how you kind of figure them out. And then some of the other ones, there is a bridge that you need to collapse, and so on the bridge it's got metal pillars that come down that are supporting it into the water. And so when I solved it, I turned the metal pillars into wood and then turned the water into lava, and it burned the wood and dropped down the bridge so I could get across. And
much more
it's
environmental interaction than I would have expected.
Yes, it really is.
I was going into it expecting
Huh?
Expecting
what's so funny?
Kevin says, and here I thought Jake couldn't be any more annoying. And there it is. Thanks, Kevin. But no, when I was going into this, I was expecting kind of like straightforward puzzles, like, oh, there's got to be a way for my character to be able to like jump or double jump or a platform here or there or whatever. No, you've got to really utilize the special power that your character has to figure out ways how to get to where you need to go.
And to give you another example, Zach, of like using the powers, there's like a waterfall, and then near the waterfall there's ivy on a wall, and if you copy the ivy onto the waterfall turns into ivy, and now I can climb up what used to be a waterfall to get to a new area. It's things like that.
Okay. Does it restrict your powers in any way, or are you just like free to experiment as much as you want?
There's a couple of restrictions. It obviously says like you can't do this or you can't do that, but other than that, it's pretty good.
It's more like you press one of the bumper buttons to bring up a targeting reticle, and you kind of scan over whatever, and if it turns into a animated reticle, you can copy it. And then conversely, when you go to change it, you hold down the button to aim, and if it does that, you can change it to that. So
okay, so it's not like, so you can't just put like a ball of IV wherever you want. Or anything.
Correct. It's got to be a acceptable place to change something, and it has to be a thing that the game lets you do it. Like, there's been times where I wanted to change something to something because it would make sense in the situation, and that's not how the game wanted me to solve it. So it does have some limitations. It's not 100% free form, but it's only mildly limited in that regard.
Okay.
And I killed myself several times because I thought changing water into sand would allow me to walk on it, but instead it made quicksand, and I killed myself. So don't.
But to
fall into
Jake's point,
quicksand.
the puzzles are, I'm not going to say they're difficult. They're pretty simple to solve once you know what the game wants you to do. I think that's my biggest frustration with this game is that it is so, it's trying very hard to not just give you the solution, that it gives you very little guidance as to what it wants you to do to solve the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's also very different from any puzzles I've played in this style of game before. So I played a little bit past where you were, Jake, and I was in a graveyard. And this is how goofy and tongue in cheek this game is. I came across okay, let me back up. The overarching story of this game is there's some bad guy that comes and devours the land, and
Sure.
the world is called Riverside, if I remember correctly. And the word Riverside is up in this basilica, kind of like the Hollywood sign. And he takes all those letters, and you need those letters of power to basically restore Riverside. So those are your, however many stars that you have to collect in order to do this thing. And I'm directed to go into this graveyard, and there's a ghost there that is kind of hanging out by a grave. And turns out he's got one of the letters that I'm missing, and I have to do this. And he's like, well, I don't want to just give it to you. You got to do something for me. Well, what do you want me to do? He's like, well, we're doing this decorate a graveyard contest, and I need to know the best way to decorate my graveyard to win this competition. So I want you to sneak into this lair and eavesdrop on the judges and find out what exactly it is they're looking for to decorate, and you come to find out that they're focused on what kind of flowers you have in. It has to be this specific color. So you come back, you give them that information, you copy colors of flowers from other flowers onto his flowers to get the right combination. The judges come, give him the prize, and then he gives you the letter. You know what I mean? But in order to get into the crypt to be able to eavesdrop on it, you have to solve this puzzle. So there's like 8 different gravestones with a random number on it, and then there's a 4-number combination up on the crypt that you have to unlock. You have to copy these numbers in order to get you have to learn what the combination is, and then copy the numbers on there. But they don't really give you a ton of information. You actually have to talk to the NPCs like in an old school RPG to be able to understand what. I know, it's crazy, right? And but it's very satisfying. But I just find myself sitting there staring at the screen. I was trying to make patterns like of the first row of numbers and the second row of numbers. Oh, I added a 2 here, so I'm going to add a 2 there, and I'm going to do that. And then I was finding the difference, and like none of that worked. And then it was a completely different solution that had nothing to do with that. But
that is the blueprints in you speaking.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. As I was thinking about games like that. So now it sounds like I'm talking negatively about this game. I'm not. I think this game is really special. I just think it's missing that ease into things like that Nintendo does with like Mario's. Like with Mario, you never have any question as to what you're supposed to do. It's more in the dexterity of how to get there.
Yeah.
In Ruffy and the Riverside, I'm constantly perplexed about what the game wants me to do. Once I know what it wants me to do, I can figure it out. So it's not as accessible. It looks like a game made for kids, and it's really not. I came across and I don't mean that in terms of content. There's nothing, there's no cursing or anything in this game, but it's not easy. I came across a section. You know how games will throw in like, oh, you gotta win a race in order to progress the story, and I had to win a race, which is just me running on top of a bale of hay around a track as fast as I can. And the thing they do clever to have you win this race is they've got these souped up bales of hay. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. And I can't compete against them. So what I have to do is I have to mess up the track to make it more difficult for them to get through the track. So I have to turn the water piles into mud, and I have to turn on these water spigots so that there's water in other places. And then I have to, obviously do my transformation. So I'm not going any faster on the track. I'm just slowing them down so that I can get past them quicker. But even after I did that, I was like, my palms were sweaty by the time I finally crossed the finish line in first place. I don't imagine a kid is going to do that because it's not super fluid. It's got that Paper Mario platforming feel to it, even when you're racing. Does that make sense?
The whole game sounds like it's more Banjo-Tooie than Banjo-Kazooie for the banjo heads out there.
Yeah.
Okay. I get more of that.
It's
I've
more
not played those games, so
it had almost like adventure style moments of like it sounded like the graveyard puzzle really reminded me of something that Banjo-Tooie would do.
Okay.
You know, where you're engaging your brain more than just the platforming dexterity, like you were saying.
Yes.
Or a collectathon. You know, the collectathoning takes a back seat.
Well, yeah, that was something that I noticed right away. That like you have to change how you think about how your puzzles are getting solved, because I was looking for like the block to get pushed over or the one thing to drop down to give me a little leg up so I could jump the distance, or whatever. I was looking for something that was already there to help me solve the puzzle that I was looking at, but there wasn't. I had to change something in the world myself that they didn't point out to me to actually make it accessible for myself. So you have to change how you look at the world and how you actually approach situations.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that collecting takes a back seat either, because there's a ton of it in this game too. There are things that I keep collecting that I have no idea what they're for. I keep finding butterflies, and it just tells me how many butterflies I've collected. There are these. Did you do any of the potato puzzles, Jake?
No.
I don't know why they call them potatoes. They don't look like potatoes, but it's like this 3x3 grid of symbols. And in order to solve it, you have to find a hidden symbol somewhere near in that vicinity. And you basically have to change all of these 9 symbols to match the symbol that's near you. And it lifts up and it gives you some collectible that I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it does. They don't tell me what it's called. It just shows me this symbol and then increases my number by 1. And I'm compelled to do them every time I see them, even though it's not doing me any good. But it's also pretty interesting.
Check.
Yeah, exactly.
That one's done.
Because I'm a potato.
The way that this world is structured, though, is it's almost got this hub and spoke, like you're in this main hub area, and then you'll have some kind of gear that will allow you to go into a spoke. And then you solve your puzzles and collect your letter, and you come back and it opens up a new area. But in that world, there is so much stuff to do. There are tiny little puzzles, kind of like when you mentioned Sonic Frontiers earlier. Remember how like it was just so much fun just to run around and explore and see, oh, that looks cool. What is that?
Yeah,
and I'm going to check that out and try to solve this and collect whatever it is. And it was just the fun of figuring it out more than the reward for whatever it is that you got for doing it. So I'm digging this game. It didn't really get its hooks into me until I put a bunch of time into it today. But I am already looking forward to going back home and firing this one up again. That is Ruffy in the Riverside. It comes from developer Socrates Laboratories, was published by Fifen Games and provided to us by Pirate PR. It's $19.99, $20. Really great deal if you like this style of game. I think the Banjo-Kazooie, even though I've not played it, I get those vibes just from what I've seen in that trailer. And I'm playing on an Xbox. It's on PlayStation, Switch, and PC.
Quick correction though, Scott. It's actually the PR company was provided by Pirate PR.
Oh,
Rawr,
thank
rawr.
you. It is pirate season after all, right?
It's the year of the pirate, dude.
I know, right?
So, Zach,
Yes.
tell me what I've been
CB?
missing in the oldest house.
Dude, it's been 6 years since the
I
oldest
know.
house.
Isn't that crazy? That does not seem like 6 years ago.
I know, right, dude? And to my surprise, it has been 6 years in the Remedy universe as well.
Oh,
So and everybody's been trapped in there for 6 years.
I completely forgot about this game, and
Uh-huh.
So first off, thank you for playing this, because I've been looking at this like FBC Firebreak. Why does this seem so familiar?
Mm.
And I didn't realize that it was the Federal Bureau of Control Firebreak.
Sure is, yeah. And it's an
And
easy
like,
download.
oh
on
crap!
Game
Now
Pass.
I need to download this game as soon as we get done.
Yeah, dude. Maybe we should link up at some time to try it, because
Oh, deal.
playing with randos is they're always quitting. There's definitely there seems to be some kind of matchmaking issue. I will say that up front, because it is difficult to get a match. And when I do get someone coming, I feel like they just don't like me, which is entirely possible, or or there's disconnections happening. And whenever I've done a custom map, I've never had a full party of 3. But anyway, that's all.
That's about to change.
more high level. This is you would probably most compare it to a Left 4 Dead kind of game. It's like a horde multiplayer shooter.
Oh,
I'm not super familiar with this subgenre of FPSs, though I'm sure Remedy's here to make them great again. And you're just playing regular jobbers at the FBC. You're getting set in to do jobs, and like your mission objectives are like actual maintenance tasks. Like the first mission, you got to fix the air conditioning. The second mission is there's a sticky note monster, so you got to remove all the sticky notes from the area.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so definitely has some of the wackier stuff.
So it's got that like objects of power stuff. Is that what they were called?
Yeah, and altered items. Well, I think the objects of power, that's what Jesse was binding yourself to, right? To get superpower. That was your gear gating.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the altered items are just the weird stuff. Like I've only encountered 2 so far, but one of them was it was like a table saw that made it so my shields couldn't regenerate until we killed the table saw. As table saws do.
Yeah.
And then the much cooler one was it's a traffic light, and it will just obscure one person on the team's vision. If the traffic light's red, you can't move. If you move at all, you'll immediately go down. So you just have to stop when it tells you to stop, and your team's got to basically just cover your ass. And that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
So if you've been hearing mixed things about this game, it is because the way it onboards you is a little weird. They have since patched this, but at first you had to like play their so-called clearance levels, and that basically dictates how many objectives you're going to get and how long the mission will last because of it. And they started with clearance level 1. Originally, you have to clear every map on that, and that was only like 5 minutes long. It was really, really weird. Thankfully, they have since patched it. Now you can just do clearance level 3 on everything, which is good because that's where the game gets more interesting. Because I was under the assumption when I did clearance level 1 that it was just going to be like like the first mission, right, fixing air conditioning vents. I assumed that meant like to make it longer, it would just be like now fix some more air conditioning vents. But it is actually not. When you go for the longer matches, you go to different areas with different objectives. Like I had to throw these barrels of supernatural metal into the furnace to cool it down, or stuff like that. Like you're doing different things throughout the map. It just the way they the way they like introduce you to everything, I think was really poor, and you only get one shot at a first impression. So I'm kind of worried that no one's going to be playing this because of it.
Especially with a universe that is so rich or could be rich with lore.
Yeah. We'll get to lore in a minute. But I do kind of wish, because also still currently you have to beat a mission before you can unlock corruption on the map, and that's when you get the altered items and the weirder stuff that happen. So you have to beat every match once, which I think is fine because the matches aren't like super long. Right, but I worry that like if Remedy needs people playing this game, like you should do the weird stuff that sets you apart up front, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I assume they're doing it for that way you have something to work towards and kind of for longevity, because there are only 5 maps, which I don't know. The content per value I guess is going to vary per person, but I don't know. 5 different jobs seems fine to me for a multiplayer game. Because, like Left 4 Dead, right? The intention is you're going to be replaying these missions because things are going to happen differently every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. The shooting is solid. It's fun fighting the enemies from Control in first person as just a regular person.
Oh, because you were flying around as Jesse before.
Yeah, or like ripping up chunks of concrete to launch at a dude, but now you just got to use like a double barrel on a flying hiss. So it's so if you're a big fan of Control, like I know we all are here, Gaming Outsiders 2019 Game of the Year, it's just a lot of fun to get a new perspective on that world. I'm having fun with it. It's not really my genre of multiplayer game, so I don't think it's a game I want to keep coming back to.
Mm-hmm.
But for what it is, especially at the Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra entry level, if you're already on those subscriptions, like it's a no-brainer. Download it, check it out. Like
is it
better than.
cross-platform?
I assume so. I think it's so much rarer now when a game isn't.
Right? It feels like it's opposite. It's flipped.
Yeah. But I've been playing on Xbox. I assume it's cross-platform. Cross progression
Really?
is always the questionable thing. But yeah, for $40, I feel like it is kind of a tough sell. The 5 maps, only because look at the multiplayer environment around you, right? Like there are so many games that are free to play that are compelling, or it's so hard to pull people away. But what is nice about the $40 is that it is an actually somewhat ethical multiplayer game, because you're not there's no FOMO. It's not trying to pressure you into some sale that's happening in the store. I've yet to see Nicki Minaj.
There's no seasons or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no season. There is like a battle pass thing you work through, but you just it's just like requisition stuff. It does there is some stuff that's trapped on that pass. It's a little unfortunate, but it's also just that's just how people have been trained to play games now, right? They want to level up in multiplayer. I feel like if you didn't have some kind of progression system, everybody would say your game is incomplete.
That's what prestige levels are for. Jeez.
Hey, man. I wish we'd go back to the Gears day where the weapons were on the maps and there was no leveling up to get stuff. But we're past that. So it's a whole different ball game now. But there are 3 classes. There's one with a wrench, one with like an electric gun, and one with a squirt gun. It's like a hydro cannon, I guess you would say.
Oh,
the adult version of a squirt gun.
Super soaker.
Yeah, but they all kind of play into objectives in a different way. I've actually had fun being the super soaker, because you can douse enemies if they're heating up with energy. Which is
there you go, CB. Get your power wash simulator and your control all together.
Well, he already said my favorite. Right. There's a dude with a wrench. You already know what I'm going to play.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like if you have to fix something. If you're playing the other classes, you have to play this little mini game where you press the bumpers in different orders super fast. But if you have a wrench, you just club that thing and it just is good to go.
Just whack it with a wrench and it's
right.
Fixes it.
Yeah,
I like it.
So yeah, I think it is fun for what it is, but it is not. It's just not super my kind of game. But the setting alone is enough for me to play it. For the Game Pass price at any rate. I do, but speaking of lore, I wish there was more documents or something to unlock, or I wish I wish that Battle Pass had some voice memos or something from Jesse or something to tie into the wider world, because there's really not any.
Well, I mean, I suppose if it gets the smallest amount of support, just be like, hey, guess what? It's season 2. We're adding 15 new objects of power.
Yeah, that's
the fridge.
Dude, the fridge would be tough. You have to just watch it the whole time.
Can you imagine that as a multiplayer? All right, I'm gonna look away, guys. You guys stare at the fridge.
Yeah, I mean, I do
control
love this
again, man.
I do love this universe. It's nice that there's a way you can play. You can spend time in this universe with some pals. That's cool. But it's not going to knock your socks off. But it's also. It's not bad. It's just, it's a solid, good shooter. It's just, over. Yeah. Yes. There you go. Yeah. If you're a fan of the RCU, this is a good way to tide some time over.
All right. Again, that is FBC Firebreak. You're playing on Xbox, but it's also on PS5 and PC.
Right.
Gamer Knight 45 in the chat says, played Control based on Gaming Outsider's glowing review and loved it. Awesome, dude. Glad you enjoyed it. I bought it on Steam Deck to test out my Steam Deck, and I never played it on there, so I should. I should bust that out.
Yeah, because I remember it got ported to Switch, but it was one of those weird cloud streaming ones.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder how that would be on a. It feels like it had some frame rate issues even on a PlayStation 4. Right? It just seems like it'd be a little rough on a deck.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, Zach, you played another game. You played on Xbox Game Pass Rematch. This is from developer Slow Clap, notably known for Sifu, which you loved.
Yeah, Sifu's great. They also did Absolver, which is solid.
And they decided to go do a football game called Rematch, which I still don't understand how you guys don't see the Rocket League comparisons with this game, but it is a realistic-ish soccer game, but it's done with a different perspective, over the shoulder behind the player instead of an overhead FIFA view.
Third person.
What did I say? First person?
No, you like over the. You were saying everything else but third person.
Oh. Anyway, Zach, tell me about this because I'm really shocked you played this game because I would not have pegged you to play Rematch.
Yeah, I wouldn't have paid $30 to play Rematch, but I will pay the Game Pass price
There you go.
to play Rematch. And even then, I would have. The only reason I'm checking it out at all is because it was from the guys that did Sifu.
Mm-hmm.
Right, without that kind of connective tissues, no dice. You know what? I'm gonna eat a little bit of crow and stand a little bit corrected here because Scott, it is much more Rocket League than I thought.
Oh,
sorry to say, Jake. I like to admit when I'm wrong. It is like the default mode is 3v3, which is the default mode of Rocket League.
mm-hmm.
It is in a very kind of boy, how would you describe the aesthetic of Rocket League? It has like that big weird fake barrier around the edges.
It's like a dome arena, like a cage match.
Right? Yeah, kind of a cage match.
Cage match soccer.
Yeah, we'll say cage match.
Match soccer.
Yeah. Now this, it is more football oriented. You have more direct ball control than you would in Rocket League, where you're just headbutting everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the default mode 3v3. Man, it's mostly soccer. You kind of aim. You can aim and charge your shots. You can pass to other players. You can do kind of tricks where you kind of kick it over your head a little bit to try to get over like a defender who might be trying to slide into you or stealing it. But it's very much about positioning. It's very much about trying to get that right angle, trying to goad the goalie out of the box perhaps or something like that. Or during the first night, it was really easy to get goals because nobody wanted to play goalie. So like I would play goalie, and as soon as I get it, I would just kick it across the field and score every time because.
Oh wow! So if you do 3-on-3, just all three players would just come out and nobody would stay back.
They can, yeah. Well, yeah. So the way
just like Rocket League,
the way they do goalie, I think, is actually somewhat neat. It's just basically the first player on your team that enters the goalie box area automatically kind of shifts into a goalie, and then you can do defensive posturing, and you can do dives and grab. You can actually grab the ball with your hand and stuff like that. But it's very seamless, which I think is cool. But yeah, nobody actually wants to be a goalie in a video game, right?
Right.
But
nobody wants to be a goalie in real life either.
Yeah, but it's people learned quickly that you need a goalie, and it rotates every time somebody scores. It resets the board, the field, the pitch.
The pitch. There you go.
It resets the pitch, and it rotates where you are. Like someone's up at the the standoff, someone's off to the side, and then someone's back in goalie, and it rotates.
Oh, you mean like in Rocket League?
Yeah, somewhat like that game. Superpowered acrobatic rocket powered battle cars on the PlayStation 3. That's what I assume you're actually referring to.
Holy crap! I can't believe you just said that.
Yes, but so it everyone has to do a turn of being the goalie, and if someone is not taking the turn, they get ridiculed.
Aaron plays in the chat, wants to know. So is it like NBA Street but football?
I got no idea, Aaron. I don't know what to tell you. I've never played NBA Street in my life. So you know what? Yeah, it's just like NBA Street.
I think I haven't played either, but I can, from the limited knowledge that I have of both, NBA Street still has that over the head view of all the players.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aaron, this one is like. It's like playing a third-person shooter, like over-the-shoulder third-person shooter, but instead of shooting, you were controlling a soccer player and passing the ball and playing it that way. I don't think I've ever seen a soccer game played from that perspective. It's always like a massive overhead view of the pitch or just one section. So yes, like Rocket League.
Yeah, the camera perspective really does make me more invested than I would be otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
It brings you to the action, I think. And it is, it is way more fun than I thought it would be. I gotta admit.
Fun enough to maybe get a group of 6 of us together and try it.
I mean, I think that would be fun, but we also got to play Fire Break, okay? But no, I think that would be a lot of fun. It's I don't know if it's going to pull any Rocket League players away. I guess if that's what it's going for, but I know it seems like it's pretty popular, and good for them, right?
That's good to hear because I was kind of worried that it was going to be a tough sell to be like, hey, we got this other game where you can fly through the air and do flips and all this kind of stuff, and now you're just going to be on the ground. So,
See, I think on the other way, I like kind of the finesse involved here in Rematch.
mhm.
I mean, I love Rocket League. I played tons of Rocket League. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't love Rocket League? But this has been fun, and the camera can be kind of frustrating to get used to. Like it's very wiry, like it's very fast, and when I turned down the sensitivity, it still felt like it was really zipping around. And I think it does that so that you can look around for the ball when you're on defense, but when you're aiming, it can be problematic. But I've adjusted to it. But that's just kind of my only real nitpick. You get to make your own soccer player, and I thought there's a lot of customization options that I had actually a decent amount of fun with. I don't know why I feel the need to point that out, but I had a good time making a character, which is not something I often have a good time.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like you at all.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun.
Very cool. That is Rematch. It is available on Game Pass, but it's also on PC as well.
Yeah, dude.
And you can also,
and I think I just saw a couple hours ago that they've sold 1 million copies despite being on Game Pass. So
wow,
good for them, man. I think it's good that you're giving football fans a FIFA alternative. I don't know if it's going to get people away from Ultimate Team, but this is bringing a different flavor to the world's most popular sport.
Exactly. Cool, man. Sounds awesome.
I'm gonna go play Rematch.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. But if you can pull Scott away from Tomb Raider pinball, that is, maybe we could have some game nights.
No,
dude. So okay, I've been known to enjoy a Lara Croft or two.
I know. I actually offered to let you review these.
Right, but that would be silly because you're the pinball guy.
It would be cool to get a different perspective. Everybody hears me talk about pinball all the time. It'd be kind of cool to see your take on it.
We hear you talk about pinball all the time.
Can I download just the Tomb Raider? Like, is Zen Pinball itself free or no? I can't remember.
The client is free, and then you can purchase the tables piecemeal. Okay, in this case, you would buy both of these.
Right.
So there are two tables in this pack.
I assume. Hold on, one of them's got to be Croft Manor.
It is. One is based on Croft Manor, which is actually the one that I like better. And then the actual like Lara Croft adventure one, I'm still figuring out, but it's just not. It doesn't feel as clever as Croft Manor.
You say Lara Croft Adventure. What's the theming? Is it like? So I assume it's her actually raiding a tomb would be the theme, but
right. But I haven't gotten to anything where like I'm solving puzzles or anything, which I'm hoping for. I've only been able to pass one mission so far, and it wasn't puzzle oriented like I was hoping. Because that's what you want in an adventure, right? Is you want to have some kind of mechanism that you have to figure out, which you're just figuring out by shooting lanes or something. But
is she like in Ghana? Like, is there a specific location?
It's a jungle theme. I don't know I don't know where it is. It doesn't say.
All right, I'm just a Tomb Raider nerd. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I don't know the places well enough. But I can speak more closely on the Croft Manor one because I think you'll appreciate this. That a lot of the missions, or one of the missions that I was able to complete, is actually her training. So isn't there like a Tomb Raider thing, like where she's balancing on these wooden poles or something and jumping from pole to pole in one of the movies or something like that?
That's the first one with Angelina Jolie,
the Karate Kid.
It's also just it's also in different. Your description is a little broad.
Okay, so there's
regardless, but in any game where you can explore Croft Manor, there's an acrobatic training ground.
Right. So one of the missions is an acrobatic training ground, but they do something kind of cool where you shoot the ball up into this area in the middle of the table. And even though it's digital pinball, you have to imagine like it's a physical pinball table. There's like a magnet that actually picks up the ball and holds it in the air. And then you have the option with either the left bumper or the right bumper to raise the ball up to like kind of throw it up one level above you or drop it one level below you. So you've got these three different levels. And there are these sticks that physically come out, and if it's coming up here, you have to drop the ball down one level, or you have to jump up to otherwise it knocks the ball back into play, and you have to get it back up into there again. It's just a really clever take that I've not seen, and I know it's not a physical table, but I've seen tables use magnets in similar fashion, but not quite that way, and I thought it was really cool. I'm looking forward to diving back in and exploring some more of those. But if you like pinball, if you like Tomb Raider, either way, you can't go wrong because I don't know who they got for the voice of Lara, but it just sounds like Lara to me. It just sounds very much like
I
her.
wonder if it's Keeley Hawes or not.
The tables are vibrant. It just blows my mind how Zen is able to keep coming up with new ways to make a new table. Like how many different routes can you do?
There must be
very
some
good.
serious pinball passion over there. They got a lot of Scott Clarks at the studio.
Seriously. So
Pinball
yeah, highly
propaganda.
I'm playing it on Xbox. It is also available on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Like I said, it comes from Zen Studios.
Do you know?
And,
Do you know how much the tables are?
I'm sorry, I don't have it. I forgot to write it down. They're for a 2-pack like that. It's usually like $10-11, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And I would be really curious to hear your thoughts on it, Zach, because it feels. I know we hate using that word all the time, but it's definitely following its IP very, very closely. Even though you're not,
good, respecting the intellectual property,
Right.
probably more so than that Netflix animated show.
Break the chair.
and I haven't gone far enough to know if like you get chased by a T-Rex or anything like that. But fingers crossed. All right, so that is Tomb Raider Pinball. It's available on Pinball FX. I got a couple other reviews to share with you. Mark stopped by to tell us about some games. We're going to play those for you right now. Thanks, Mark. Good to hear from you as always. Want to say hello to a new member over on our Facebook community, John Bingham. Hope you are enjoying the community and the conversations. Also, like I mentioned at the top of the show, be sure to check out our Discord server. There's a link in the show notes. Drop us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show. And also check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes and all of our written content, whether that be news or reviews, which includes Mark's review of Chronicles of the Wolf, which he talked about last week. Also, you just heard him talk about Siren's Rest, the Still Wakes the Deep DLC, his reviews on the site, as well as Rel's review of Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, which released on Switch at the launch of the console. So be sure to check those out. For now, it is time for us to go into our From the Outside In topic. This week, we're going to talk about profanity in video games. We're all adults here, and even though we keep it pretty tame on this podcast, we all curse like sailors. So it's safe to say that we're not easily offended by off-color language, but sometimes it can be a distraction when we're playing some video games. So what are your thoughts on profanity in games? Does it even bother you, or does it bother you at all, or do you say bring it on? CB, what do you think?
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Without a doubt.
No, never a problem.
Well, no. I had an English teacher in college, and first day of class, he's like, start swearing, and just writes every swear word on the board that he can. And he's like,
Okay.
All of these words are completely usable in any assignment in my classroom. Just use them in the proper context.
Wow.
And I was just like, that's brilliant. He's like, they're words. They're in the dictionary for the most part.
So of course you did.
Oh, without a, I was fully ready to be like, how many times you want to hit the buzzer this time, Scott, during this episode? Because I will let the flag fly.
No, don't, please. We are still a family-friendly podcast.
I have a scene in my head. It's from the Boondock Saints.
Exactly.
I get you a book of Proverbs or something.
Well, it certainly shows the diversity of the word, doesn't it?
But I will say there are certain types of games that if there isn't colorful sentence enhancers,
Colorful metaphors.
Yes,
That's a
I'm
SpongeBob
kind of
reference.
off put. Like if you're playing like Mafia 3 and they removed all the language from that game, I'd be like, see, it doesn't have quite the impact.
Boy, that game is unafraid of some curse words and slurs. That's for sure.
True, but
What the
for
shenanigans?
a time period piece?
No, it brings you into that world and that story. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I too want to slit the throat of every Dixie Mafia member I come across. Much like Lincoln Clay.
Yes. So, if the game is above a teen rating, I expect at least something thrown in there.
Jake, what do you think?
It's really hard to tell on the podcast because I'm like constantly watching myself how I talk. But if you have spent any time around me, there is probably not a sentence that goes by that I don't swear in. My wife is relatively the same way. Our household is very bad. There are lots of names and swears and things that happen. So anything that happens in a video game does not even bother me whatsoever.
What about the youths in your house? You allow them to swear?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
we
I've hung out with him and his kids, man.
Because we didn't want them to be afraid of speaking in such certain ways, and so I think it was like the age of like 12 or 13, we were just like, okay, you guys can swear now, just remember, like, swear in moderation. And now
That went out the window.
Oh yes, that went out the window. Like, it was pretty bad. So bad at some points where I was just like, all right, that's enough, and I swear all the time. But when it's like, when you can't, instead of saying and you start to swear, like, all right, you can stop swearing. So,
And Zach, sorry.
I was gonna say,
No,
lots of
we're
four-letter words in your house.
yes. Zach.
No, yeah, they certainly don't bother me. I can't think of any instance where, I guess there are some games where they use them in an over-the-top manner, but usually those are fun on purpose. But no, I'm certainly not bothered. I think it's weird that we're bothered by swear words at all. I can understand some words, that you probably shouldn't say. I get slurs because they're just, there's a bottomless amount of hate behind them, right? You're never saying that in any context other than to be cruel or unkind.
Right.
So I get why you don't say those, but like, the four-letter words, as you say, like, I don't understand why we care so much as a society. It really boggles the mind.
Especially this country, because you go to other countries, all over the TV.
They have different four-letter words that
They do, but the ones that we look at, that they're like, oh, why would you say such a thing, dude? They let it fly.
Right.
I also use those four-letter words too.
Yeah, man, use them all. Language is powerful. Let's use it. And yeah, I'm a person. I like to encourage kids on the street. I'm like, hey, just make sure to swear tonight. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Really,
Did you get your quota in?
I'm fighting the system.
Home, when you get home, talk to mom and dad. Just
Look dead in the eye.
Right. Before bed tonight. Just
It doesn't bother me personally, as long as it's just not over the top. Just for the like they don't use any other adjective. It's like, come on. At some point, it becomes an issue of me having less respect for the writer. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to swear. I'm not offended by it, especially if it's not directed towards me. You know what I mean? It's one thing when I was teaching middle school last year, and I got 14-year-old kids calling me names that I'm shocked that a kid would call me this. You know what I mean? So
just because they have no respect.
But in a video game, I'm not bothered. The part where I struggle with it is people that I try to get to turn the corner about video games being something positive, and they walk in a room and my character's just dropping F-bombs left and right, and that's all that some people are going to hear. They're not going to look past that, especially if they are easily offended by coarse language.
If that's what puts them off, then they have a deeper rooted problem.
Well, I wouldn't call it a problem.
Taste.
It's just that there are people that choose not to use it, and I respect that they don't use it.
No, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I believe that if language alone is something that puts you off from an entire hobby, there's a larger problem there.
Well,
because
right.
They're experiencing one game and they're like, this has got language in it. Guess what? There's like a few 100,000 other games in existence.
No, I get that. And I mean, these are people that are looking for a reason to hate games anyway. So it's a lost cause.
That's what I said. There's a deeper rooted problem then.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you still know these people? Like, who are you hanging out with?
Facebook.
I know a lot of people, man.
Sure, but I mean, it is an artistic medium that is more popular than any artistic medium they are engaging with. How are these people left?
I don't know, dude.
Are there still people out there that are like, no, I refuse to watch film?
Usually,
Yes,
those
dude. I was at a party with one of my good friends, and I was talking with another friend about movies that came out that year and which were our favorites. And this guy like looked at us indignantly, like I didn't even know anything new came out this year. I like the thought of going to a theater, just like whatever. I don't want to go to a theater. I just have noted like they just don't watch anything. Did people like that exist, man?
Did you catch which model walker they were using?
No, this is a guy younger than me.
Yeah, he's probably watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Or the TikTok.
No.
He's got to be doing something with his time, Scott.
He's watching sports, is what he's watching.
Oh, okay.
Well, guess how much swearing is in sports?
Right.
Probably just as much in video games.
Anyway, I'm gonna know. Here's some examples from you guys that you remember. I don't want you to actually use the language, but what are some game titles?
Oh, come on!
That you played or instances that stood out to you, and was it ever too much? Jake, I'm going to start with you.
We get one pass tonight, and we're gonna we're gonna get every word out we can.
Yeah, I've been teaching middle school for the past year. It probably would have been fine, but
hey, middle schoolers or people who Scott teaches, skip the next 16 seconds.
No,
right?
No, so I'm actually going back to
alphabetically. The one game that for whatever reason stood out to me was The Suffering on the PS2. I was probably about 15 or 16.
Is that the one that's got a guy in a electric chair on the cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know what, like, I was pretty much the same person I was back then, and I don't know, me and my friend were just sitting there playing it, but I think what really got us was his dad was in the room. And so we were sitting on one side of the room, and then his dad was on the other side, facing, not facing us. He was doing his own thing, but then our TV was just swearing up and down. And me and him just started making fun about how like The Suffering 2 was going to be called like Profanity Unbound or Unchained or, something. Because it just seemed like every sentence of dialogue that this person had was just a swear.
Man, they're prisoners. Prisoners are rough.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just so. It was so comical to me that they swore so much that two teenage boys were like, they swear a lot.
Dude, Torque, he really went through it, okay?
Yeah.
Pouring out for Torque.
CB, did you have one?
Do I have one?
Do you have
He's got like
multiple examples?
Do you have 10?
Anything with John St. John's name attached. Literally. Postal, my personal favorite, Bulletstorm, full clip edition.
Uh-huh. That's right. He did that whole game.
Oh, yeah. Not only just did the original, like he dubbed over everything and then added quite a bit to it. And that game, goes places. Mafia 3, I said that one already. All the South Park games. I mean, that slaps you in the face with it repeatedly.
Do you remember when the movie came out, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut?
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh, and I had to watch that without my parents' knowledge, and I was just like, people talk like this, like.
There's a lot of Uncle Effers out there.
Yeah,
that would necessitate a whole song. But
I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head all night now. Terrence and Phillip, right?
Yeah, man, that's a catchy tune.
Spec Ops: The Line, like some of the dialogue in that game, if you remove the swearing, like it just doesn't hit. Sleeping Dogs. So it's
sure.
I feel that there is a certain type of game that if you were to just remove, like, I'm going to put this on like child mode, I feel that the story just wouldn't carry as much weight or travel as far. And it it definitely wouldn't have that like impact that it would for certain storytelling. It'd be like watching Pulp Fiction with all the swearing removed.
Like, remember when they used to play certain movies on television and they would edit out the words?
Just
And I'm like,
dub
why did you
overlay
even
button.
bother with this movie?
Right.
On like TNT?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Yippee
my
ki
God.
Mr. Falcon.
I was gonna say, yeah. I remember Die Hard with a Vengeance had a really funny swearing dubs.
Yeah, or this is what happens when you find a friend in the Alps. Was it? I think was it Big Lebowski that did that one?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you find a friend in the Alps.
Now I want somebody to dub over a game but remove all the swearing.
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh
how-
god, that'd be so
Hey,
ridiculous.
Pop quiz. Could you guys take a guess? I actually looked this up. What video game has the most instances of profanity?
I know the answer.
Do you know the answer? Did you look
I
it
know
up
the
as well?
Yeah, I knew the answer because I've also played said game.
Okay, I want to see
And
there
there-
to have a shot before we give the answer. Zach, do you have any guesses?
I mean, I assume it's not Bulletstorm because that would be because they kind
You
of
wouldn't expect it.
they invented their own. I don't know, a multiplayer Call of Duty lobby in 2007.
There, that would probably be. Yeah.
Uno on Xbox 360.
Yes, yeah, that's some stuff you can never unsee on that.
Here,
No.
Let's see.
I gotta put this up. Like,
Aaron Plays says,
I'm sick and tired of these monkeys fighting snakes on this Monday through Friday playing.
That's actually what they did, I think.
it's iconic. That's
Dude, I
funny.
remember when that movie
Oh.
came out, Snakes on a Plane.
Oh yeah,
Oh, oh.
Dude,
And everybody
was-
was like, why? Because it was around the same time as the movie Soul Plane.
dude, Snakes on a Plane is good. That movie's fun as
I
hell.
didn't say it wasn't. Soul Plane was not good.
oh, I just
What's
that was
the
such
answer?
it was like
What's the answer?
It's House of the
Yeah.
Dead Overkill.
oh, that's not what I had.
Oh,
Guinness World Record is it is actually House of the Dead Overkill because there is literally a scene where the character just says the F-bomb like 56 times in a row. It's just like bah, 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 and I'm like,
Huh.
geez.
What answer?
I
do you have,
had-
Scott?
I had Scarface, The World Is Yours. Says it holds a Guinness World Record for the most swearing in a video game, containing 5,688 instances of one offensive word in 31,000 lines of dialogue.
It's a pretty impressive ratio.
Yes.
I can beat
So-
it.
I bet you
Oh.
could.
Easily. That's a Tuesday.
Right, right.
All right, Zach, what about you? Any examples?
Not
haven't
our
been
Tuesday
mentioned already?
because we have the podcast. We don't swear.
That's right. We're good boys. I'll say a current example. Leica swears very well. For not having voice acting, you can really feel it when they drop the F bomb because it's not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So really, kind of feel the moment there that really stood out to me. But the two that came to mind when the question was prompted was Gears of War has very good swears.
Yeah.
Not to talk about that, all the time, but forever it run free in my head is shit. Yeah, that's so good. Just the way John DiMaggio is saying that, perfect. And then, dude, I love how Claire Redfield swears in Resident Evil 2. I don't remember the
Yes.
actress's name, but she is an expert swearer. I remember that standing out to me in the game. I think I even mentioned it in my review.
You did. I remember.
How good she swears. So yeah, big shout out to Claire Redfield in Resident Evil 2 remake. She's a queen of swearing. If that's a crown she wants, she's earned it.
I mean, you guys hit most of them, but I'm going to start with mine with the very first time I ever saw a curse word in a video game, and this is so old that it wasn't even voice; it was just text on the screen.
Mhm.
And remember, I grew up in a very strict religious environment. Like we had to, when we watch a movie, we had to mute when we knew a swear word was coming up. I remember specifically watching The Princess Bride, and the end when Inigo Montoya kills the six-fingered man. He says, "I want my father back. You this," and I had to mute it when my parents were in the room because they couldn't hear whatever. So again, video games were a tough sell to my parents anyway because that's all they wanted to do. So any vulgarity in a game was going to be a turnoff to them and make them not allow me to play it. So I'm playing Mega Man X
Oh yeah, sure.
on Super Nintendo.
The teenagers Mega Man.
Right. I'm playing this game, and at one point, Mega Man X comes up to a door that's locked or whatever gets escaped, and he just says the word damn. That's all he says. And I remember being angry as a kid because I'm like, guys, like, again, I'm a kid. I don't. Well,
We're gonna get in trouble, guys. Capcom, how could you do this to me?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Dude, I'm not joking, guys. I was like, if you guys keep this up, my mom's gonna not let me play these games. Like,
Well, but does she watch you while you play, or your hands just shaking in your room as you're trying to tap the button as quick as possible?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is, man. I lived in fear that I was
Yeah,
going
well,
to
it's
consume some kind of content that was going to get me into some kind of trouble when I was younger. It was
this is
off-putting.
the same household where JRPGs were a messenger for the devil, right?
Oh yeah, subliminal messages that were going to make me want to kill myself, and
You know.
you hear all those horror stories about
You do.
religions that's all this stuff is satanic and it's to brainwash kids and make them want to do horrible things. I lived that, like legitimately lived that.
Satan's
Again,
game.
raised in a cult.
Yeah, it very much was. So
Well-
anyway, so that was the very first instance, and I remember that vividly. I remember which room in the house I was sitting in and where
Yeah.
the TV was sitting, and I'm playing this game, and I was just like beside myself because I was like, okay, this is the beginning of the end. They found some other reason now that they're going to not want me to play these games.
I
And-
disagree with you. I mean, the door was just damming the way.
Right.
Damn.
You get some damn bait.
It's the damn fear.
Anyway, I mean, the one that stands out to me
Damn
is just
souvenirs.
being over the top was GTA 5. I mean, it was not just the swearing; it was the over the top violence too. But the profanity was pretty laden in that one. CB, you already mentioned Bulletstorm, but man, when that game came out, I know if it's over the top and like too much, I thought it was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Just because I heard combinations of vulgarity that I never knew went together before.
Dude,
To
they were
this day,
inventing
you
swear words.
still use them.
Oh,
Yes.
you have never gone bowling with me.
By the way, I had to go back and pull this up. Aaron in the comments wanted to let you know, Zach, that the actress that played Claire was Stephanie. Boy, is it Panicello?
Seems like a good guess. Or Panaceo. One of the two.
Panicello.
I assume Panicello though.
So those were the big ones for me. I just had to share that first
Mindy
one because
says
it
truth.
and it wasn't even like a hardcore. I mean, it's funny that we have like different levels of swear words, right? Isn't that weird? That like some are dirtier than others.
Sure.
Like, it's so
I think the weirdest one is when parents allow you like you can say frick instead. I'm like, but it's the same. You just said the same thing.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that
All
was
right.
actually what was happening in our house. Is we had this hard line. We wouldn't allow the kids to swear. You guys are too young. You shouldn't be swearing. And they would go to the frick and they would do that stuff. And I was like, no, you might as well be swearing. That's against the rules. So
Exactly.
don't say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then finally they got old enough, and I was like, fine, you guys are saying this stuff anyway. You might as well just start actually swearing. But
Right.
Yeah, and I promise every parent your kid is hearing heinous stuff at school.
right
On
And-
YouTube, on TikTok, like
Right.
On TV.
on TV.
on the
yeah.
daily.
My old boss when I was at the elementary school in Rockford would always have like her own replacement swear words, but they were so like far removed from what they're supposed to be that it didn't even make any sense. Like she would if she would stub her toe or something, she would go chicken nuggets, and it was just really funny to me. Like it
Do you
just
remember
became
the sign that used to be at the Y?
no.
Oh, so on the basketball courts, it used to be a sign like no profanity and everything. Here are some alternate words to
Get
use.
out, really?
Oh
It
no!
used to be at the Y, and like one of my favorite was like fiddlesticks, and I'm like, yes,
Fiddlesticks.
because that's the term we're gonna use.
Could you imagine a grown-ass pants on the basketball court saying, "Oh, fiddlesticks! I missed that shot."
I think it's the movie The Man has Samuel L. Jackson, and he's trying to stop swearing, and I can't remember who his partner is, but he's telling him, he's telling him things that he can't, he should say instead of swearing, and one of them is for crying out loud.
I can't wait to go home and for crying out loud my wife later.
No. To this day, the movie Madagascar has the best one. Sugar Honey Iced Tea.
Oh,
yeah. You didn't know that?
Oh, so that's a way homer. You got to think about that one.
Yeah. Or see you next Tuesday.
Sure.
As in, see you next Tuesday.
Whoa. Yes. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
See, we've always had it in my house. If you're gonna do it, just go for the gold.
We're really skirting the line here, guys.
Is Declan starting already, or?
Oh, dude, I had him at like 18 months already dropping the F-bomb.
All right, well, let's see what the community said over on Facebook. We're going to start things off with Sean Coates. He says, I'm not bothered by swearing at all. I curse like a sailor on his 5th tour of duty, but I distinctly remember The Getaway on PS2 being the first game that I've played, and possibly the first game in general, that started dropping F-bombs like punctuation marks. Even GTA games by that point weren't using that much vulgarity. That is until San Andreas came along, which makes sense as it took inspiration from 90s gangster films and hip-hop music videos. TLDR. I see that all the time. What does TLDR mean?
Too long didn't read.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. He says too long didn't read. The Getaway was first. San Andreas took it mainstream. There you have it. CB?
Over on Twitter, Jeremy, or JError4545. I remember playing Cinemora, a really beautiful ship on the 360, and being immediately turned off by the insane amount of swearing. I think in its place, a few swears add some punch, but I'm not a fan of vulgarity for vulgarity's sake.
What a weird game to have vulgarity in.
It's all about genocide, and it's definitely dealing with mature themes.
Right. Did you say beautiful ship, by the way? That was a typo. It was supposed to be shmup. I don't know I can't remember if you said that. I forgot to correct that.
I said ship. So
yeah, he read it as written.
I definitely Ron Burgundy'd that. So
no, that's my fault. I was supposed to correct that, and I didn't. Did you ship your pants?
Oh boy!
I shipped my nightie.
I shipped my bed.
All right, Jacob.
What is over on Discord? Quinones.
Quinones.
What language is that? Sorry,
Cyber. Now you are Quinons.
If you cannot pronounce it, spell it, whatever. Yeah, those words that those people spoke in that one time. I'm sorry, I butchered the name.
What the for crying out loud is wrong with you?
Forgive me, I'm English. I actually was thinking about it the other day. Personally, I don't care about the language if it makes sense and goes with the character. But when you start using profanity to be edgy or to get eyes on your game, it ends up being a bit cringe. Bulletstorm pops into my mind when I feel like it was overused and made the character juvenile. There also is an indie game, Beat Cop, that I played 6 years ago. And I remember how the amount of slurs and profanity was so unnecessary.
Okay, I'm gonna fight you a little bit on this one, Cy. Bulletstorm, it was meant to be that way.
I mean, yeah, the game is juvenile. Yeah,
sure. It, and then they just took it over the top with Duke.
Well, yeah, you have to.
I can't look at that game now without Duke there. Like Gray was a great character, but without Gray, I'm like, no, the game's better.
It's a fun game too. That had a really interesting mechanic setup.
Oh,
the different ways to try to kill.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tony Hawk for shooters.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Aaron Hughes writes in and says, context matters. Flamboyant vulgarity without purpose sullies the intent of what is wanting to be shared in most cases to me. A tastefully placed F-bomb can create an incredible moment, or it can make it feel cheap and unearned. There are, however, some cases where it's been used to create personas within stories. Trevor from GTA 5 wouldn't be who he is without his Canadian redneck charm and colloquialisms. I don't think Mario would be so ubiquitous to gaming as he is today if he spoke like a real plumber.
Well, yeah. No, game targeted at children. That would be a little
Mario.
rough.
Adult.
Oh, Peach, Mamma Mia.
It's a me, Mario.
Kind of like the picture you posted on Facebook earlier, Scott.
It was not me that posted that picture.
Yeah, that was
I'm
not.
I believe
Sorry.
that was Aaron actually
Good,
that posted that picture. We had one more comment. Our producer Kevin actually wrote in the chat here. He says, "Profanity doesn't bother me, but I don't understand why it has to be in every AAA title nowadays. It was quite frustrating as a dad telling my kids that they couldn't play this game that everyone's talking about because of the language. To each their own, though." And I get that. That's kind of where I was coming from with the kid thing. You know, I don't fault parents for telling their kids to not use a language. You know, when you grow up and you make your own decisions, that's fine. But, you know, there's still something to be said to try to shield your kids from seeing this kind of stuff. And he's right. It's hard to find a big budget game that doesn't have swearing in it anymore. It's become much more of an adult hobby, even though half the world still calls it kids games, which is a whole other topic we could have. But yeah, I get what he's saying there.
I don't, but you know, teach their own. Yeah.
I mean, if the game is rated M, well,
You really think
it's rated
a lot
M.
of parents are paying attention to the ratings?
I'm sorry. If
Only
you're
if
gonna
there's
sit-
a boob. It's the only
Yeah.
time they care.
But I mean, if you're sitting there going, okay, well, you can't play this game because it swears, you're basically going, okay, well, I don't want you playing this game because it's rated M.
Right.
It makes sense to me. You're actually looking at the rating. So
Mhm.
yeah, pay attention to what your kids are playing. Makes
And
sense.
Don't let them play online, I guess. Right? You're gonna be hearing some stuff there.
And speaking of, that's
Online
gonna be our,
content's not rated.
that's going
Yeah,
to be
I
our
know.
topic next week. We're going to be talking to a special guest about keeping kids safe online. Now, I don't have any kids of my own, but some of us here do, and a lot of our listeners do as well. So
Hey,
we're going to be
Scott.
talking.
You might.
I might, not that I know of. Yeah.
That was the most natural segue we've ever had.
And yeah.
And you ruined it by pointing it out. Way to go. Well, stay tuned next week. We'll have that posted in the social media outlets for you to answer, and we'll potentially read your responses on next week's episode. But that's going to do it for this week's The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
Sure. Yeah. Go see The Phoenician Scheme. I thought it was really, really good. It's a new
Phoenician Scheme.
Yeah, it's the newest Wes Anderson movie. I'm not well versed in his film catalog. I've only seen Asteroid City, but I thought this movie was really quite delightful. Michael Cera is in it, and he's incredible. Also, it's a performance from Benicio del Toro that I've never seen before. Like
Okay.
the kind of character he's playing. He's usually, unfortunately, he's either like mean guy or drug guy in a lot of stuff. And the character he plays here is actually a fair bit more complex. It is. I don't know what Wes Anderson's style is, but it does in many times feel like a
Quirky.
Looney Tunes. It feels like a Looney Tune for sure.
Strange and artsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, The Life Aquatic was great.
I don't know.
The only movie I liked from him was Rushmore.
Again, yeah, I've only seen Asteroid City in this, but they feel like cartoons to me.
Zach, I think you would like The Life Aquatic.
Yeah, I having seen his two latest ones, and I've enjoyed them both. So yeah, I plan to go back, check some stuff out. But this one I thought was really, really good.
Okay. How about you, CB?
Ooh. So, quick update. Warhammer. I have started a second army.
All right.
Lots
Hell
of
yeah! What's the army? Or
So my first was Ultramarines, but I am slowly
the
converting
classic.
everything over to White Scars.
okay, is that just Marines but with white armor?
Marines with white armor, but they're very Genghis Khan like style based.
Okay, who are the cool muscle ladies? What are they called?
Oh, the Battle Sisters.
yeah, I like them.
The way he said that.
Step on me.
It's a very, very step on me style.
All right, yeah, for sure.
But nobody likes the Tau. Go away. I can't help it. I saw a
Tau?
comment that made me mad.
Paul Hine says in the comments, Tau? Question mark?
Nobody likes the Tau. Go away.
I don't know.
But I did see a new movie. and I don't know if I can recommend it. I saw 28 Years Later.
You can't recommend it, really?
Dude, okay. There's a lot of it that's really good. It doesn't feel like the first two.
That's
20,
Well, I
20
hope it doesn't feel like
Well,
the
yeah, 'cause
second.
it's 30 years later.
Well, 28 days later was phenomenal. 28 weeks later was entertaining. This is so weird, and the ending,
Yeah, the ending is getting a controversial response for sure.
the ending is so bizarre, and there's a lot of zombie wiener.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
That like no, like
Wiener?
there's a lot.
All right, I'm intrigued.
It's definitely
I mean, I'm
bizarre.
gonna
just a
regardless.
swing and
There's an actor in the movie that I was like really surprised to see, and I'm like, that's really cool.
Uh-huh.
But beyond that,
Robin Williams.
no,
Oh, sorry.
definitely not. But then after I watched it, I found out that it's a two-parter. There's a second one that's already being filmed called 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple.
Right. Well, so yeah. Well, Dan, the plan is for it to be 3, but they're filming the second one already.
Yeah, and it's just such a weird spot to end the movie, and like how they do it, that I'm like, it's almost off-putting.
I'm so interested now. Well, I was interested before, I guess, but
I was too. I was just gonna wait to rewatch the other two before I jumped into it, and they're not streaming anywhere, unfortunately. Well, one of them is.
It's funny because they're both on the account.
Oh, didn't know that.
Or you could have just asked. I could have loaned you the Blu-rays too.
That too.
do that. The song on the piece of orchestral music in the first movie, "In the House in a Heartbeat." What a tune!
Dude, haunting.
Awesome song.
That was the first movie I saw Cillian Murphy in as well too, and I just was like, man, he's a
Like,
really
it's like
cool
the
looking
first movie
dude.
that everybody saw Cillian Murphy in.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
I think we were all like, he's gonna go places, and then he went places.
he kind of did. Did you ever see Red Eye with him?
Yeah.
That was was it Wes Craven movie, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that movie was great.
It was pretty
Anyway.
good, yeah.
Jacob, what about you? Anything to recommend?
is my wife still in the chat?
Probably.
No, your wife is not in the chat.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm trying to convince her to play Subnautica 2 with me once it comes out, but she is schizophrenic and afraid of water.
Schizophrenic?
Yes.
Thalassophobic?
No, she hears
No,
voices.
she hears voices. The voices say out of the ocean.
Yeah,
It's okay. You'll have a better chance of getting
she's still here.
Nate. You'll have a better chance of Nate playing it.
I don't know about that.
I loved the Subnautica games, and I cannot wait for 2 to come out.
I will play it with you because I love
Yay! Okay.
I got a recommendation as well. I got to go see a band live on Friday, thanks to a good buddy of mine, Brian, that gave me an extra ticket that he had. The band is Millington. Have you guys ever heard of Millington? Yes, no?
That one time you brought it up.
All right. Millington is good old pop punk mixed with ska. And it was just, it was awesome. It was really,
Coming
really good.
Straight out of the 2000s.
Yeah, it really felt like I'm hoping that there's a little bit of a revival of this kind of thing. It felt a little Mighty Mighty Boss Tones-ish adjacent, but they definitely have their own sound. Got to meet the band afterwards. Got a T-shirt. Check it out. They've got several tracks and lots of. There's just so many tracks, but the one that's been stuck in my head is called "Welcome Home." I highly recommend checking out the Millington. They're just a lot of fun to see live. I had a really great time at that show. So,
Coheed and Cambria?
Coheed and Cambria does a song called "Welcome Home" as well, but that is not the song I'm talking about. So. All right. That's going to do it, guys. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, Jacob Gunderson, and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a fracking bad game, just games that aren't for you.